So years ago, I was torn up inside, so frustrated and angry and bitter towards this couple that I thought were close friends of mine because they were getting married and I wasn't invited to their wedding. I thought that they cared about me and I wanted to be in their wedding or at least attend their wedding, but I wasn't on the invitation list or so I thought. And as I was talking to a different person about this, they looked sort of confused and they said, "I'm pretty sure you're invited." And I was so upset. I was like, "No, I'm not." And until a few days later, I found the invitation sort of buried in a pile of mail that I had at home. You see, I was invited, I just didn't know it. And ironically, when I thought I wasn't invited, it caused this bitterness. It sort of ruined the relationship I had with this couple that was getting married. And when I realized that I was invited, it sort of made everything right. It completely changed my perception of the situation. You see, we've been going through the whole story of the Bible. We're finally at the end of it. We're at the last chapter of the last book, Revelation chapter 22. And here is something that I think is so interesting. In chapter 22, verse 15, it talks in this eschatological language, this imagery about how there's going to be judgment. There's going to be those on the inside and those on the outside. It says in 14, "Blessed are those who wash their robes. They will be permitted to enter through the gates of the city and eat the fruit from the tree of life. Outside the city are the dogs, the sorcerers, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idol worshipers, and all who love to live a lie." You see, what's interesting here is that these are people who are choosing to live a lie. These are those who are choosing their own way. These are those who are unwilling to yield to a greater authority. And so often we think of the judgment at the end of days where God enacts his wrath on those who are disobedient, those who are unwilling to yield to his authority. And we find ourselves sometimes putting ourselves in the place of God, us mere mortals saying, "If I were God, I wouldn't do that. I would choose a different way." But the ironic thing is that we are invited on the inside. The invitation is for all people. It's indiscriminate. The invitation is to come. In verse 17, it says, "The Spirit and the bride being Jesus Christ, say, 'Come.' Let anyone who hears this say, 'Come.' Let anyone who is thirsty come. Let anyone who desires drink freely from the water of life." You see, you're invited. Your friend is invited. Those who do evil, they're invited. All are invited. Anyone who is thirsty, who desires drink, can freely drink from the water of life. So the invitation to you is to come. And I'm going to end this daily encouragement and this whole story devotional with this verse. It's the last verse of the entire Bible. "May the grace of the Lord Jesus be with God's holy people." Love you guys.